The parsha this week starts off the new Chumash, parshas Vayikrah, the book of Leviticus, which is called Leviticus, which is kind of odd anyways. Leviticus means Levi, and it's a story about the Kohanim, but this is the way it's called. It's the parsha, the Chumash of Vayikrah. Vayikrah Moshe, so that it says in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. The Kamar brings down in the Hechal Bracha, Amar Morna Baal Shem Tov, Shekol HaRefuas Lama the Pasuk Vayikrah Moshe. All the Baal Shem Tov learned from this pasuk, from Vayikrah Moshe. Then there's another teaching brought down the Mar Anayim by the Chernobyl. Refuas of Baal Shem Tov, Shema Seiden, the Refuas, the healing of the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov was known as a great healer, a physical healer, emotional healer, a mental healer, but also a physical healer. Hu Aidei Chudim is through the concept of Yechudim, through unifications. Shami Yachid Mala Shechina Midas Ayin. He used to elevate the Shechina to the level of Ayin. And then, therefore, there was also a tikkun, a healing that occurred also below. So, Vayikrah Moshe, the word Vayikrah, the first letter Vayikrah, the first word Vayikrah, the Aleph of Vayikrah is Ze'ira. It's a small letter Aleph. And Rashi writes about this, the difference between Vayakar, Vayikra. Vayikrah is Lashon Chiba. It's a language of endurance, a language of love and affection. And the letter of Vayikra is, the word of Vayikra is spelled with a small Aleph. Says the Baal HaTurim, and many others say the same thing, that the idea of the difference between Vayakar and Vayikra is the difference between Moshe and all the other prophets. Vayakar means something that happens in happenstance. Kara is something that just occurred. And Moshe was a humble person, so therefore, when he wrote the word Vayikra, he wrote it with a small letter Aleph, to show in his humility. But the Baal Shem Tov ties this to the idea of ayin. And somehow this ayin is the root of all healing. So before we get to the Torahs of Baal Shem, the teaching of the Baal Shem, to understand this and unpack this a little bit, what this means, at least Kerakeno, the ways we can estimate what this means, this is a teaching also by the Holy Arizal, which the Arizal talks about also healing. The Arizal writes that the word choila means someone that's sick, that the word choila has the numeric value of 49. 49. And what's missing in the choila is the shar hanun. The shar hanun is missing, the 50th gate is missing, and when the choila moves to the shar hanun, the 50th gate, then they receive healing. It has to do with Shema, and the 4 letters of Shema, and the 4 letters Yud Kei Vav Kei Shema. But the idea of 49 has to do with choila, that has to do with sickness, has to do with the number 49, or the idea of 49, and the 50th, which is freedom, has to do with healing. What does this mean? When a person is ill, physically ill, emotionally ill, psychologically ill, mentally ill, means that there's something cheser. There's something that's lacking. And when there's a lack, there's no completion, and that represents something that's not working correctly. So the idea of memtes 49 is memtes panim tame, memtes means that there's a possibility for things to move in different directions, which means that free choice occurs in the place of memtes. You can have memtes panim. You can choose to have purity. You can have to choose to be impure. There's memtes shari levels of kedusha, and there's memtes sharim of tuma, and 49 levels of tuma, opposites each other. And when we say that there's an opposite, that means that there's also a possibility of something that's missing. You don't have it, and you choose to have it. You have it, and you choose to have the other thing. That's the world of memtes. Kol poyel Hashem lemaneu, gam rasha b'yimra. The pasuk says in Mishlei, So Kol Poel Hashem L'Maneu means everything Hashem does is for a purpose. Kol is the numeric value of 50. 50 is the completion of idea. V'gam Rasha, V'gam is the numeric value of 49. V'gam Rasha B'yamra, also Rasha in the day of his unrighteousness, also an unrighteous person, the day of his righteousness is the place where he has B'chira. This is a very overarching idea which comes from the Torahs Arizal, which means that there's 49, which is the possibility of emptiness, of something that's missing, and reaching the 50th level to reach a sense of completion and idea of healing. In the language of the Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shem is saying that it has to do with connecting, this is the way that Chernobyl brings down, has to do with connecting the Shechina, a Maila Shechina Midas Ayin, to bring the Shechina to the level of Ayin. So Vayikrah, the Aleph of Vayikrah, the small letter Aleph, represents the Ayin. And healing is to bring that illness, or the situation of the illness, to the place of Ayin. How does this work? Now, there's one way how this works is in the mind and in the experience of the tzaddik, the person that's praying for the healing or asking for the healing, or the person himself that's asking for the healing. When a person opens himself up into ayin, into the nothingness, into the emptiness, which is the level of Keser, the 50th level, that ayin is the source of all yesh. Creation is created yesh ma'ayin, something from nothingness. The ayin is the place of Keser. The ani, the ayin, that's the place of Keser. So when something is missing and a person prays with great humility and experiences humility and experiences a bittul, a nullification for the will of Hashem, a person that lives his life that a person lives with his life in a way that they're totally nullified to the will of Hashem, to the Ratzon Hashem, they become a conduit to bring down from that place of ayin, from that place of emptiness, all types of Yeshua, all types of healing, because from that ayin, all yesh becomes manifest. But there's a teaching in the Baal Shem Tov that maybe will shed a little light besides the experiential idea of bittul, that a person has to live in terms of the avodah, in terms of his spiritual practice and the level of bittul. There's another thing that the Baal Shem Tov talks about that maybe is related to this idea and to the idea of healing. Everything in this world was created, and the inner spiritual divine energy within all of creation is through the Dvar Hashem, the word of Hashem. That means that there's the primary sounds of creation, which is Aleph, Mem, Shin. These are called the mother of sounds, the mother of the letters. And then there's the Sheva Kvulas, the 7 double letters, like Beis and Veis and Gimel and Shimel and Dal and Valid. Those are the double letters. And then there's the 12 simple letters. The total number is the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, Beis. These letters are the conduits, these sounds are the conduit through which the divine revelation becomes revealed into this world. The chayas of this world, the life animating force of this world, is b'dvar Hashem shamayim nasa. With the words of Hashem, with dibur, the world was created. Which means when you look at, let's say, a table in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, will be called a shulchan. Shulchan is shin lamed ches nun. The combination of shin lamed ches nun is the quality of the shulchan, the inner quality of the shulchan is the DNA, the spiritual DNA of this table is the formation of these 4 letters. And this sound, shin, lamed, ches, nun, when they're combined, when they're created a particular tziruf, and the tziruf, the combination of these letters, say the word shulchan, that spiritual quality of those 4 letters together, which creates the sound of shulchan, is the root source of the actual table. And this is with every single thing in this world. There's different sirufim. You look at a table, a chair, a person, an object, whatever you're looking in the world, everything is really another vibrational divine vibrational energy. Things in Hebrew are called devarim. Devarim means they're words. Every single thing is another word, another divine vibration. let's give it to like something more sensible, more practical. We can think about it. Is if you look at matter. Matter is energy. Energy is a vibration. The vibration is actually a spiritual vibration. The spiritual vibration is the sounds of the Aleph base. So the spiritual vibration of the sound gives rise to a physical vibration. The physical vibration is the energy, and energy is then transformed into matter. Now, a person is choila, a person is sick, or a person breaks their arm, God forbid. A person has an injury. What happens now is that the divine vibration of this individual person with the broken arm is now vibrating with a sound that says broken arm. The yad, which is the arm, now is shavor. So the shin beis reish, which spells the word shavor, together with the yad, that's the vibrational energy of this person. How do we change the healing of what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching about in the spiritual healing? Is the healing is not dealing. The Baal Shem Tov is not a physician. He's not a doctor. He's not amending the physical brokenness of the hand. The Baal Shem Tov is working with the inner quality of what's the broken hand. He's working with the spiritual vibration of this broken hand and changing the tzirufim, the vibrational level. On a vibrational level, changing that energy of that person, so therefore the person's hands will be healed. How does a person, certainly a tzaddik, a person like the Baal Shem Tov, how did he do this? The Baal Shem Tov actually writes what he did. When a person davens, when a person is praying, and a person is having in mind, Rafeinu Hashem, please heal me, heal this person. This person is ill. When they're saying these words with kavana, with intention, and with dveikus, and with connection with Hashem and intention, with attention and intention, what they're doing then is when they're saying this word, Rafeinu Hashem healing, and using this vibrational element in a holy way, in an elevated way, what they're actually creating is a unification between all the reishes sounds of the universe, all the rifa'enus. Rifa'enu is also a tziruf. It's a combination of letters. The reish is one letter, the fe is another letter, the aleph is another letter, and all those letters all of a sudden become morphed into one word. And when a person is reciting this word with intention, with kavanah, neichus pnei Hashem, in front of Hashem, and is praying, they're elevating all those sounds. Let me give you a very simple variation of this. A person is saying in prayer, let's say we use the English word, let's say a person is saying good. When a person is saying the word everything is good, or make everything good, so they're taking the letters G, or the sound of G-O-D, G-O-O-D. That sound now all of a sudden elevates all the G sounds of the universe, all the O sounds of the universe, all the D sounds of the universe. The English sounds of words, and for that matter, all the languages of the world, those are the achorayim, those are the backside of the original sounds. That's like the Arizal calls the other languages. There's the pnim, there's the internal vibration, and that then breaks itself out into 70 different languages, and that's the acher, that's the backside of that same vibration. The root of the shulchan is shin lam ches nun, but the vibrational of that energy floats and flows into all different languages of the world. Everyone is calling the shulchan from a different angle. They're all looking at the same table, but seeing it from a different angle. And their angle that they're talking from is through which their vibration is reaching them. Therefore, the sequence of their letters is that vibration. So the languages of the world, all the 70 languages of the world, they represent the achorayim, or you could even say this is what the Ravid writes in Chos Krishma, that it's the pirush, it's the interpretation of Lashon Kodesh. There's the inner language, which is Lashon Kodesh, which is the pnim, and then there's the outer language, which is the interpretation. So when a person's praying, what you're doing then, a person that's praying with real kavanah, and you're davening, you're saying the words, please Hashem, heal this person, or you're praying for this person, and whatever you're asking for, kel nod or fon nod, you're praying for this person. You're connecting your energy, your nefesh, your spiritual self, on a nafshestik level with that person. And then by you voicing these words, you're creating now new tzirufim for this person. You said, you started praying and saying this person is in a tzara. Tzara is a particular vibrational sequence of letters that spells hardship. And now when you're praying and you say Ritzeinu Hashem, You're taking the letters of Tzadik Reish Hey and now making it into Reish Tzadik Hey. So instead of saying that word meaning that it's a hardship, now that word means that it's acceptable. It's pleasant. So it's the connection that a person has with the other person, the davening for that other person, elevating the other person through creating these new tzirufim, and the ikar, and the main thing in order for a person to do this is to reach the bechina of ayin, to reach the level of ayin. Because if a person doesn't experience true ayin, true humility, true egolessness in their own sense, when the person's praying for another person, they're praying for the other person as if it's their own problem. If you pray for another person, you need that same thing first, your prayers will be answered. I mean, if you need something and the other person needs something, you pray for the other person, you'll be answered first. But the deeper interpretation is that if you pray for another person, as if you're praying for yourself. You're not praying to help that person. That person is part of you, and that person's sorrow, that person's hardship bothers you. If this person doesn't have parnasa, this person doesn't have livelihood, if this person can't find the shidduch, or this person can't find menuchas hanefesh, can't find settlement of their mind, they're not at ease and they're in pain. It's not their pain; it's your pain. Because if you're experiencing ayin, the lack of yourself, the lack of your ego, and you really have true, deep sympathy and empathy with the other person, and really identify with that problem, and so much so it becomes your problem. So when you daven for that other person, you're creating new tzirufim for that other person that's sick. And this is what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching, that the source of all refuah, the deepest root of all refuah, comes from this level of ayin. That's why we find Moshe davening for healing, and it has an effect. That his prayers has an effect for healing. Because Moshe is bechinas ayin. Moshe is a level of anachnu. Moshe is a level of ayin. And because Moshe was a bechina of ayin, of this total self-sacrifice for other people, for Klal Yisrael, he was the shepherd of Klal Yisrael. Because Moshe experienced this ayin, he was able to bring healing, and that's the teaching of Vayikrah. Vayikrah is that small little Aleph, that small ayin. To experience that ayin is the root and the opening for all refuahs, for all healing. If a person wants to draw down any type of healing, you want to daven for another person, you want to pray for another person, you want to help another person, you want the person to really get out of their tzara. The ikr, the main thing is to experience true humility, true bittul for Hashem's will, and through that will experience the other person in a very, very deep way. The person's problem becomes your problem. You pray from that place, and you create these new tzirufim, these new formations of sound, and that's the way you fix and heal the person on a metaphysical level, on a deeper level. And then, because there's a change, an energetic change on a spiritual level, because now instead of tsar it says rutz, instead of shavar yad, instead of broken hand, it says it's now a healthy, it's a bar yad, it says healthy hand. Then all of a sudden the person's hand actually starts becoming healed with the koyach halaki, the divine connection that you have with Hashem through your prayers. Good Shabbos.